I was hid behind a big tree that was knocked down or fallen, and I could see these Germans in the woods across this big field, and I saw this young kid crawling up a ditch straight towards my tree.
Mike was actually an intern at StoryCorps, and he sort of brought some of the stories home to Tim and said, you know, what do you think? And when they came in with a pencil test for Germans in the woods, I think it was originally, and showed it to Dave Isay, who's the founder of StoryCorps, it was sort of the aha moment.
I wake up many nights crying over this kid. I still see him in my dreams, and I don't know how to get him off my mind.
There is a way to bring the audio to the screen without losing anything, and in fact, with adding something. And that's what the animations have done.
This was at a time before we were fortunate enough to get a grant from the CPB to make 7 a year for the last several years. Before that, it was just something that Mike and I did out of our own pockets with the cooperation of StoryCorps to make basically a film a year for about 3 years, and then we got the CPB funding.
And I would always wanted to go with Grandpa. And he would get a pastrami sandwich the size of my head, and he would buy me a hot dog, and he would say, "Don't you tell anybody. We just to go for a good walk, right? You want another hot dog?"
Not every recording that StoryCorps has produced for radio translates as smoothly, or would translate as smoothly, into animation. So it's a very tricky process to find those.
And then one day, my mom and dad and my brother Michael and I went to Rocco's apartment for the Sunday meal. Now, we no longer live
Once we have those,
everybody else was gone.
on an individual basis, we just take them, and myself or the storyboard artist we have now listens to the audio and tries to figure out what's a good visual representation for this. And from there, we work with that storyboard artist and with StoryCorps to mold that aspect of it.
And put it in your pocket.
And then from there, we have layout drawings that come in from our background artists to start to figure out, well, if you are going to do this shot, here's what maybe the scenery would look like. Of course, in the middle of all this, research is going on where Mike and I are visiting the participants, getting photographs of where they grew up or wherever might be relevant to the story and of their family. That research goes into my character design and to the background design.
Let's talk about Miss Divine.
Lizzy Divine.
Miss Divine was a wiry lady.
She did the catechism. Who made you? God. Where is God? Everywhere.
We did track down a photograph, one small old black and white photograph of Miss Divine, and so her look was sort of based on that. And some things they had said about her was just that she was tall and that she wore the kinds of sundresses and she wore the big wide-brimmed hat. So things like that you can work in and to try to best as possible capture the person.
I get to work, first thing I do is turn on my email, and I discovered this one. I didn't know who it was from.
My coworker sent you that email by mistake.
It's really gratifying to see the reaction of the participants after they see the animation. The guys have done such a wonderful job of capturing the people they're remembering.
What did you do?
You know what I do. I'm not going to tell you.
No, you have to talk about it.
Every morning, Karen would drive with me to my office.
We did 3 shorts of remembrances of people who perished in the attacks in the World Trade Center. We hope to continue to be able to make films, both the sort of funny ones like Miss Divine, but also some that really contribute to what's going on in the national discourse.
I turn around and I see the building burning.
It's really about the stories at the end of the day, and these stories are so powerful and moving and unique. There are these voices that you just don't hear otherwise.